A war of words between Baba Ramdev and BJP MP and actor Kangana Ranaut has taken an ugly and deeply personal turn. Misogynist as well, with Ramdev's remarks being criticized not just as political and under the belt, but crass and misogynistic. The row began after Kangana referred to today's youth as Generation Gutter. Reacting to her comments, Ramdev, in a conversation with TV9, questioned Kangana's qualifications and then brought up her childhood, youth and past actions. He said calling the youth of a country gutter was a sign of a distorted mind and asked members of the party to take note of her remarks. But instead of limiting his criticism to Kangana's statement, Ramdev's comments shifted towards her personal life and character, drawing criticism for their gendered and inappropriate tone. Kangana responded with an equally sharp attack. But first, let's just listen into what Baba Ramdev said.
जब आप बोलते हैं कि जेनजी से संवाद होना चाहिए, तो ये संवाद कैसे होगा जब बीजेपी के एक सांसद कंगना रनावत कहती हैं कि ये गटर जनरेशन है?
उनका क्वालिफिकेशन क्या है? जिनका आप नाम
सांसद हैं
और उनका बचपन कैसा रहा है? उनकी जवानी कैसी रही है? उनके पहले के कारनामे कैसे रहे? मैं ऐसे लोगों के बारे में बात नहीं करना चाहता। ऐसे किसी भी देश के जवान को जेनजीज को गटर पटर बोलना ये बिगड़े हुए दिमाग की निशानी है, गलत बात है। इसके ऊपर जो है उनकी पार्टी के लोगों को संज्ञान लेना चाहिए। और
लेकिन वो आपके योग की प्रशंसक रही हैं, खुद को सनातनी
मेरी प्रशंसा करे, योग की प्रशंसा करे तो मैं उनके गुनाहों को यहाँ पर लिपापोती कर दूं।
In an Instagram post, she told Ramdev not to daydream about her Javani or bedroom, accusing him of relying on rumors and gossip. She also cited Supreme Court's action in the Patanjali misleading advertisements case and said Ramdev should not give her character lessons. What started as a debate over Gen Z has now turned into a bitter personal exchange. Well, it's not even about Gen Z. Many of us would remember how Kangana Ranaut made certain remarks about Gen Z that also had very strong overtones of misogyny. We called her out at that time for that. Today, we stand by her for what she has been called by Ramdev. Nobody really has a right to just about attack a woman for what she has said and driving straight for personal misogynist comments. I'm being joined by Mitali Nikore, who's a founder and chief economist for Nikore Associates. Sanjana John, a cultural diplomat, filmmaker, fashion visionary and social activist, as well as Khushbu Jain, who's an advocate as well as a Supreme Court advocate with the Supreme Court. Thank you very much, all three of you, for joining me. Well, let me just start with you, Khushbu Jain. Khushbu, how do you look at this? I mean, you know, normalized, yes, but just how easy is it to slip into the terrain of personal attacks when it's a woman on the other side?
See, we have to see this as not a fight between, two important personalities of the nation. We have to see that this is a fight against us as a women, that whatever we do, first of all, the question should not arise that I have done something to achieve a position or a power so that I can be equal to the opposite sex. But here, a woman, despite achieving so many things, is not recognized by the achievement, but is being put across when it comes to body shaming, when it comes to color she is, the background she is from, the past actions that she has gone through. Let go of the achievements that she has looked into. So we are living in a society that whatever we do, first, by birth itself, we don't get equality. Second, we do something, we are not recognized by our achievements, but we are living, this shows that we are living in a misogynist or a patriarchy world. And whatever we do, however we talk about that, how advanced the country is, and we are talking about the generation today, we are forgetting that every time, be it issues when women are subjected to domestic violence, we have seen people, in offices, in places like, Bollywood, or places even like any other workplace or environment like this, where, two big political people who are talking and a statement like this is coming across.
Right.
So this gives a very alarming or a chill situation that what more do we have to do, or what exactly is where we are missing when we talk about equality over here.
You know, Sanjana John, let me just come to you. Look at this. And that's why it was important for me to say it out in as many words as it is. Kangana Ranaut made certain statements about Gen Z that, according to me, was absolute misogyny. And I called it out at that time for what it was. That doesn't give a right to anybody to attack her or counter her on what she said based on misogyny.
I completely agree with you, and you called it out right. Nobody has the right to be so misogynistic, nor do we have the right to trash anybody based on their personal, whatever their thoughts or ideologies might be. But I want to point out to our Honorable Prime Minister, Narendra Modi ji, and how diplomatically and how correctly he handled every situation. I think everybody ought to take a lesson in how we approach our, I would say, our gesture or our remarks when it comes the outrageous remarks and the defaming, the defamatory and definitely the misogynistic remarks, whether it's male, female. I'm somebody who feels that nobody has the right to do that to anybody. We have a generation that is standing up, and why trash them? I think we should be guiding them. The right note and the right step is for these people who are the icons. These are the role models. And if they are speaking like this, what do you expect the youth to do? So it's a good way for us to point out that, be it Baba Ramdev, be it Kangana, everybody should realize that the way forward is to deal diplomatically and with respect. We can address situations, but respectfully.
You know, Mithali, if I can come to you, I remember in the parliament, Kangana Ranaut had stood up and she spoke about how, as an actor, she's had to do multiple roles. From being a drug addict to being Jhansi Ki Rani and playing several other roles. And these are her words. I don't remember those exact words because it's been a while since she said that in Parliament. This was soon after she was elected. She was countering some Congress people who had made the remarks against her. And she said, just because I live a life in public, nobody has the right to come and make personal derogatory statements against me. I think her offensive at Baba Ramdev is very much a message on that again.
So I think I completely agree with Khushbu. As when she was speaking, she was talking about the fact that independent women will always be an eyesore. And I think this is exactly what we start to see. When you see this incident as part of a larger narrative and a pattern that is emerging across the world. I mean, we've seen, leaders like AOC in the US. She's sharing her entire journey of egg freezing. And she's trying to, take her detractors at that level and say, it doesn't matter that I'm not married, I can still run for president. And that's an eyesore for all of the patriarchal men who will be standing against her. And today we have a completely self-made person like Kangana Ranaut, who's also standing up and who's making a statement. Whether we agree with it or not is not the point here. The point is that she has a right to make it as a member of parliament, as an independent woman who has earned her own living, who has earned her entire net worth just on her own and her own work. So at the end of the day, this entire pattern of women coming into the workforce, being financially independent, being people who, are seen as independent economic actors, especially single women, who may not have a dependency on a man for any reason, especially financial, is very scary to the gatekeepers of society in that sense, who happen to be men.
Right.
In this particular instance, of course, both the parties are questionable in their own ways, but the overall pattern that we see of independent women getting questioned by patriarchal men definitely continues.
Right. Sanjana John, you wanted to make a point.
Yes, I just wanted to point out that as an independent woman, you should also stand up and show that we're not people who, I would say, display this kind of outrage towards anybody. I mean, we have our ways of addressing, and I think that's very important. When you are putting down people and using language that's not acceptable, then you're opening the door. And see, that's something that we should realize as women or men. And that's why I'd like to point out that this has not got anything to do with just saying, oh, as a woman, whether you're a woman, whether you're a man, I think respect for each other is very important. And how can we put down a generation? How can we put down anybody? So the minute we choose to open that door and disrespect other people, we are opening the door for disrespect. So this is where we all, as women who are strong, and I think portraying a step to a footage to other people, we should show that this is not the way. We should respect. And even if we don't agree, that doesn't mean disrespectfully. We can say the same thing respectfully.
I get where you're coming from. I understand and I hear you when you say what you say, that respect is a two-way path and it's important to come from both sides. But there's the other side as well, and that is, it's just a very convenient slip-in zone to slip in and make those snarky remarks, irrespective of whether it's the woman who's made the comment at the other end or not, or whether she has done anything disrespectful. Why I'm asking? And I like the title. One of my colleagues has put out a graphics, and she has said the misogyny files, and there was a whole lot of list. We just picked up a couple of them that were recent. So Baba Ramdev himself in the past has said, they look good even if they wear nothing. Who says something like that? You've had Mulayam Singh Yadav, ladke ladke hain, galti to ho jati hai. Abhijit Mukherjee, dented and painted women. Tirath Singh Rawat, showing bare knees, wearing ripped jeans. You have S.N. Subramanian, you know. How long can you stare at your wife? Come on, get to the office. Comments from across the section. You have across party lines. Congress, BJP, SP, you've had recent instances in DMK, so across political lines for that matter, across the economic cross-section as well. It's just so convenient to make those snacky, slidey, and there is a section that smirks at this, that smiles at this, forwards it. It's consumable.
That's even worse.
It drives a message far more than any serious messaging can. Do you want to talk about this, Khushbu Jain?
Absolutely. See, what we have done is we have taught women to understand independence. We have taught women that there is something called as equality. You know, we have asked them to grow in every aspect when it comes to finances, when it comes to emotion, when it comes to position and power and everything. But we have failed when it comes to teaching the men in the society at the same time that, boss, there is another side where it stands equally. And I think that's the gap that we are seeing, that the education is one side, the education is at a faulty line where we are not educating the men at every age group. We are not teaching them.
Khushbu, because this is not really about education alone. It's going to be a little hard for me.
I'm talking about basic education in the society, as in society, that they need to understand this part.
Comments have also come from people who have stood as the vanguards of equality.
No, I'm talking about the education, not in terms of education of, you know, having a degree. I'm talking about education where you teach them. You teach them in the society that there are two sexes in the society and both are equal part of it.
You, Mitali Nikore, make your point.
So I just have one point here, and I think it's as an economist, I'll always look at it from an economic lens. See, at the end of the day, in a patriarchal setup, and which is also capitalist as a society, the resources are controlled by men. You know, you look at the largest corporations, the largest paychecks, the ownership of companies, it's all sitting with men. So when women come in and strong women come in, and again, it's not about this one particular incident, it's in general as a pattern, when women come in and challenge that status quo and say, we are going to enter the workforce, we are going to start our own companies, we are going to be the CEOs, they start asking for their share of the resources. You know, the land ownership in India, the Hindu Succession Act, was only amended in 2005. Until then, women are actually excluded from even the parental inheritance, which was actually their birthright. So, you know, the equality in terms of resources and the economy, that is really which gives women that power. And when women get that power, of course, men are going to be rattled by that.
Sanjana, John?
Yes, I think I see it very differently, because I think that women from I think our generation before to now, it's changed quite a bit. Most women are independent, educated, and we stand on a platform where we do realize our worth, and we do, I think, like you rightly pointed out, your colleagues picked up the right things to show how men are deplorable when it comes to coming up with statements like this. Unacceptable. But coming to, I mean, I think she was just talking about education. We are talking about a highly educated mass right now.
No,
These
no,
are not
Sanjana ji, I wasn't talking about education when it comes to. Sorry, I'm interrupting in between. But
yeah.
I wasn't
No,
talking
no,
about
let me come.
education in terms of, what
I
degree
got
you
it.
have. I'm talking
I
about
got it.
educating at the home when you're born.
I
Since you're
I
born
got it.
till whatever the age group,
Okay, sure.
educating them about the
Okay, can
part
I complete?
that.
Sure.
Khushbu, let
Completely
me
get it,
complete.
Ms.
Please,
Khushbu.
go
I
on, go on.
got your point. I didn't say education in schools per se. I said education, whether it's at home, whether it's your peers, whether it's your surrounding. We're in a way different category from before. We do stand for equality, which is why we are four women talking about this. But I come back to one thing. I think that we all need to understand that we stand up for our rights, right? And I think most men around us do too. Few people like this who make such statements are being called out, which is, I think, really, really remarkable. And I'm glad that you brought it out, because I never knew that there were so many deplorable statements that had been made. And it's really something that should be called out. And when we talk about the youth who are actually stepping up now, it's good for them to understand. It doesn't matter whether it's in the office, it doesn't matter if it's at home or in colleges. We all stand to respect and to understand there are parameters of
Right.
speech, and it goes for everybody. That's all. I think my stand is for everybody to
Right.
respect.
I think there's hope. Why I say there's hope? Because after decades, education has finally come at the center of politics. There's
Yeah.
hope that this generation will stand up demanding that equality no longer be about textbooks and about convenience. It truly be about narratives. There has to be a cost associated with crossing that red line. Hopefully, we will see that in our generation. Mitali Nikoria, thank you so much for joining us. Sanjana John, thank you so much for joining us. Khushbu Jain, thank you very much.